This is Benue People's TV Online. We are here to give you everything that's happening in Benue State and want to keep you informed. We don't want you to be left behind. And I'm here with somebody honorable, a respectable man beside me. Sir, please, can we know you?
My name is Lawrence Aondover, Utsaha. I'm an architect and indigenous of Benue State. That's about me.
Okay, thank you, sir, and welcome to Benue People's TV. Please, can you give us a brief history about yourself?
Well, I was born 39 years ago to the family of retired Justice and Mrs. Utsaha. Spent my growing up days in Benue, schooled in Makurdi. My university, I went to Obasanjo University where I read architecture. And since then, I've been traveling all over the country practicing architecture, seeing what other people are doing and getting enticed and wanting to have the same thing in my own locality. I'm the fifth child in a family of 8. I love making friends. By virtue of my profession, architecture, we love providing solutions. So basically, I would say I'm a solution provider wherever I find myself in. That's the summary of who and what I am.
Okay, the title of this show is The Politician. Sir, you say you're actually an architect.
Yes, I am.
And then you're into politics now. Please, can we know what inspired you into being a politician after reading architecture?
Okay, let's put it this way. I am not a politician. I am an architect in politics.
Okay,
like I said, architects provide solutions.
Okay.
When you identify a problem, our profession is basically about providing solutions. So I've also seen a problem in the political sphere that has not been aptly attended to, the challenge of positive leadership. And so I've decided to move from architecture and come and solve these challenges. Then when I'm done, I'll go back. My passion is to be a professor of architecture. I'm not a politician. Wow. So once we are done with this mission, we go back to the classroom.
Okay.
That's my passion.
Okay. Oh, okay, you just moved into politics, but it's not permanently. Like you're going to go back to what you're used to doing or what you believe you know how to do best.
In reality, there's nothing like a politician. Nobody is a politician and everybody is a politician. The man who says he's a full-time politician is actually a jobless man who's not doing anything and simply wants to come and find a cocoon where you will do nothing and get money out of it. So I am not a politician. I'm into politics. I'm an architect because there's a challenge of leadership. And for you to come into that leadership or come on the platform, you have to go through politics. So I have left architecture, I'm coming in to redirect, to redesign, and to implement, because that's the training of an architect. And once I'm done, I'm able to show that this is how things can be done, I go back to my field.
Okay. So which party are you in order for you to correct what you feel is not being correct?
I'm a member of the Social Democratic Party. On Friday, I signed up in my ward as a member of the SDP, Social Democratic Party.
Okay, what made you be in that party?
Well, I would say it didn't come overnight. It's been over a year of thinking and planning. Clearly, I have no space in the APC or the PDP because we see them as people who would ordinarily not allow things to go the way they should go. We've seen it happen over time. We don't want to get into politics for getting sake and making noise that we're politicians. We want to get to a platform where we can actually be allowed to show what we're capable of doing. And then again, in the history of Benue State particularly, the only civilian regime we had, or the civilian regime we had that spent the shortest time on seat, yet made a very positive impact, was the regime of late Reverend Father Adasu of the SDP. So we have something about this SDP that makes you to be able to deliver within the shortest possible time. So looking at all the parties, I saw myself going with this particular platform because there's no time to deliver on so much. So how about go with the people who know how to do it very well? That's why we're going with the SDP. And of course the manifesto too.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. What do you aspire to run for? What are you running for?
Well, I'm taking over the governorship on May 29, 2019. Governorship of Benue State. That's what I'm gunning for.
Okay. to be the governor of the state?
To be the governor of Benue State.
What do you want to change? What do you want to change?
There's a whole lot we need to change. Perhaps it would have been better to say, what are you not going to change? Because there's a whole lot to change. Is it the civil service that is not being serviced properly? That the inputs into the civil service is poor and the output? We need to change the whole system. And you know, there's this tendency to feel that change is about pushing people aside. Sometimes you just need to dot the I's and cross the T's here and there without retrenchment, and you get value from a system. Is it about the environment that is a sham? Is it about our agriculture that has not been explored to the highest peak? Is it about the mineral resources? Is it about the human capital resources that have not been explored? There's a whole lot of things we need to do. So like I said, it would have been a better question if you had said, what are you not going to change? And asking me what I'm going to change. Because a whole lot of things are going to change for the better.
Okay, sir. I want to ask what you think about this present government.
I stopped thinking about them.
Okay.
Because you try very hard to think about them and then you don't see nothing to think about. So I don't think about them. That's why I'm preparing to take over from them once their tenancy expires on May 28, 2019.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Considering everything you say, I believe you really want to change the state. I believe you want to rebrand it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In all ramifications. I'm an architect. My training is to make things better.
Okay, how do you wish to promote? How do you wish to promote the state?
First of all, we need to look at our potentials. We have spent too much time looking at our challenges, be it security, be it our inability to harness agriculture, especially post-harvest losses, be it in our inability to explore the potentials inherent in the human resources we have. We're going to run a system of government that will be more in tune to pushing the private sector to drive the economy. This way, we don't need to employ so many people. We're not going to create jobs. We're going to be creating job opportunities so that people manage themselves. Two different things. I'm not going to increase the size of the civil service, but I'm going to create potential so that some people in the civil service can even go outside and live better lives and add more value. This we are going to do. We are going to do result-target education. You have graduates roaming about because most of them graduate in fields that do not readily add impact to the society. We've left vocational training, we've left special education, such that our qualifications now are more visible in the certificates we show, much more than the solutions we are able to provide. We need to rethink our education. We need to look at the syllabus. We need to really think about special education and vocational education geared towards entrepreneurship. We need to look at agriculture. We need to look at our tax systems. Presently, the ease of doing business in Benue is extremely poor. Our neighbors, Nasarawa, have a better ease of doing business. That is the reason why you have so many companies running away from Benue, literally. Olam was in Benue. She ran away from Benue, and she's exploded in Nasarawa State and Kaduna State. You have oranges wasting in Benue, for instance, and then you have companies like Chivita still bringing concentrates from abroad. Our tax system, our economies of scale are very poor. Then we need to tweak our budgeting system. Of course, we cannot and must not forget about security, because most of our people are in the rural areas. We must be able to redevelop our rural hubs so as to stem the trend of urban-rural migration. Let's have people settling in the rural areas that are safe, that are well-planned, that are developed. And to this end, we have an intention of reviving what we used to have before. We had the GFRI, Directorate of Food, Roads and Rural Infrastructure. After GFRI left, we had the Benue Rural Development Agency, BERDA. These were targeted at developing the rural areas. And in that way, a man sits in his village and he feels at home, he feels he's in an urban setting. But all of those are gone. Even our current urban hubs are glorified villages. Makurdi is one of the dirtiest cities you have in Nigeria. We need to change some of these things and make our people feel proud of where they come from and where they live, and they will help us sink their monies there and develop the economies there.
Okay.
These are some of the things we're looking at.
Okay, as Benue is now, I believe you have plenty of views of things that are really not right. If you should come as Benue's governor, what do you think? I just want you to tell us some things you feel that needs to be eradicated from the state.
One, the crazy talk about the salary wage bill is something that should be sorted out in less than 2 weeks. And we have said on several platforms how this can be done. Today I was watching a video clip on Facebook where the former governor said he paid salaries up until when he left in May to a tune of only 2.7 billion. And they knew this current government came in and they continued with that tide, but towards the end of the year, it skyrocketed. What happened? There's something this government is not explaining. It is something we must unearth within 2 weeks, and we have a template for doing that. That is one. Two, we can never compromise on our security. If Benue is not secure, the farmers will not be able to farm. People will not invest. It will not be a safe haven for anybody. So these two primary things, we must target them. And then, of course, revenue generation. We are in a recession, or we are coming out of a recession. And as I speak to you, Benue State government has still contracted revenue collection to consultants. What do they remit to the state? What are they doing that the Board of Internal Revenue cannot do? So you are running short of resources. Instead of maximizing the opportunities you have to increase your input, what do? You still give out contracts. Whereas you can actually do what I call direct labor, supervised by the BIRS. And then all the monies collected are coming into the state. Instead of the state getting only a percentage and the consultants going away with a chunk. It's the same thing in infrastructural development. We want to set up a department for infrastructural development. We don't have to award contracts before infrastructural projects are implemented. All we need to do is to meet the Benue State House of Assembly and tweak the Procurement Act that will allow us a bigger leverage of how much money we can, an upper band of what works can be executed under direct labor. So we don't really have to give contracts out. But once we get equipment and manpower for our Directorate of Infrastructural Development, we'll have infrastructural development all around. And then the most important thing, we need to be transparent with government and governance. There are a lot of opaque things currently happening. There are a lot of things that need to be thrown light on. And in a recession, why should I be running a bogus government like we have now? If at the federal level you have a minister who is in charge of works and housing, power, 3 ministries, the man is anchoring at the federal level, and then you come to the state and you want somebody to handle, you have 3 people handling the same thing. Why waste money in running government? Benue can run with 5-6 commissioners. You don't need 13 commissioners. We do not need to have the Bureau for Local Government Affairs. What is it doing? It's a bottleneck that holds, and perhaps it's a bottleneck that holds back and it twists the local government from performing. Why do I need to have caretaker members appointed in local government? The very day we come in, May 29, 2019, we would not take more than 6 weeks. We should be able to conduct elections in local government. Thank God we have elected local government officials now, but it took them so much time. Let the government hands off affairs of local government and allow the state assembly to oversight on the local government. Let the governor focus on the state. Let the allocation come to them. In that way, when we intertwine, we'll be able to develop the rural areas. And people will not need to be coming from the rural areas to come and settle in shanty settlements in Makurdi. The flooding we recently had, we said it's people building on erosion-prone areas because they need to leave the rural areas. But if the rural areas are developed, they will not come and be settling in shanties here. So let's have our local governments to work. Let the allocation get straight to them. The local government chairmen do not have immunity from prosecution. Let's see anybody embezzle. and you see how the person will be dealt with. But you need to give people a leverage to work, without which we cannot have development. Let the federal government, let's really have devolution of powers. Let's have 3 tiers of government. Let the federal be there, the state, and the local government, completely independent. I am happy the State House of Assembly also voted in support of independence of the local government. That's the best way to go. Let the leadership at the local government be in line with section 1, sub 7, where it assures that the leadership of the local government will be democratically elected. Let's have the people decide on who leads them at the local level. That's the critical point, the grassroots. And let everybody focus on what he needs to. There's a whole lot that can be achieved by local governments, but if and only if we allow them that independence they require. These are the things we are looking at. Run a very slim, smart government, proactively, and the people will see the results. You don't need 100 years to do that. The things we are bringing to the table.
Okay, so you've really said a lot. But I really want to ask one question again. We said Benue State is food basket of the nation, right? I think we have plenty things in stock. The farmers are really planting plenty things, and yet the country, I don't know, the state, despite the fact that it's food basket of the nation, is actually, I would see it as one of the poorest in agriculture. What do you have to say about that? Or what do you think it's making it to be like that?
The truth is, Benue is the food basket of the nation. But what you will not be told is if the food basket is empty or full. In this case, clearly it is empty. In the last couple of years, empty because of the impact of the herdsmen on farming settlements. Empty because there's no direct policy that adds value directly to agriculture. Empty because you only have a work-free day on Friday that people don't even go to the farms. Empty because you have post-harvest losses. Empty because when we are not in the season of tomato is selling for 25,000 a basket. But when you come to the season and you go to Taka, tomato is selling for 700 for the same basket. Then when you get to the supermarket and a tin of tomato is selling for 600 and a basket is selling for 700. We have focused on the wrong things and we have not developed the value chain along agriculture. We have misplaced our priorities. We are building a cargo airport, but we have not determined the cargo we are exporting. What would I have done? Do my rural roads, get access to the rural areas, help entrepreneurs to develop along the value chain. The farmers are farming. Who is processing this? We celebrated the export of yams. We're exporting jobs. Yes, it is true, we got a bigger market, but how much value did we add to ourselves? And so for a place like Benue, Zaki Yam should be a hub for the poundo yam processing system, such that we are not exporting raw yams, we are exporting processed yam. And that is why the last time you exported yams, what happened? You had over 30% losses because of the delays. Ivory Coast is the highest producer. It makes about $2 billion a year from cocoa. Switzerland imports the cocoa and produces chocolate of different brands, and she makes over 18 billion a year. So it's about developing the value chain. We are still in that crude, primitive way. Years back, we had Benue Tractor Hiring Agency. It would help you do massive agriculture. The place is literally dead now. So for me, what I have resolved is, just like President Buhari became the Minister of Petroleum, once I become governor, the Ministry of Agriculture will be under the government house. And all our policies will be directly, I will be the Commissioner for Agriculture and the governor. And I will have a director under me answering directly to me. So that if we fail in agriculture, you won't need to go far to point out who is to blame. Our priorities as far as agriculture are wrong. And then we hit this continuum. Travel from Abuja to Makurdi, you see these J5 buses, for instance, carrying a lot of pigs. They are consumed here, they are produced elsewhere. but the past regime was setting up an artificial insemination center in Accra Oshi College of Education in Yande. They actually set it up. Why didn't we build on it? We have the University of Agriculture in Makurdi. Yes, it's owned by the federal government. How have we synergized with them? We have a Center for Food Technology Research in Benue State University. How have we used it to develop the technology of our food? We are missing the point. We are all about show off without value. That is the reason why the basket is empty. And that is the reason why Ekiti is still the highest exporter of yam and yam products in Nigeria. And that is the reason why Ghana is the highest exporter of yam in Africa. Whereas the yams coming out from Ghana are not as much as what is coming out from Benue and Zakibiam. We have misplaced our priorities, all because we get free allocation money from Abuja at the end of every month. So why should I worry? This is our problem. We are not thinking. We are not acting, we are only reacting. That is why the basket is empty. And so we are coming in to act and not to react to the circumstances we find ourselves in.
Okay, there are plenty of people watching you. The farmers, young farmers, old farmers, all those ones that even want to go into farming. What would be your advice to them? Like, what do you think, or what would you tell them that after planting the crops, how they will sell it, how they will manage it? Can you just give them advice?
We need to be able to identify or develop markets for our products at the different levels, at the raw level, at the semi-processed level, and the finished products level. If we do not have a market, if our agricultural products are not demand-driven, but are purely supply-driven, you just farm and look for where to sell, then there will be a problem. As the Commissioner of Agric and Governor of the state, in liaising with my colleagues around the state, around the country, and even in neighboring countries, North Africa, we should be able to create these markets. Last year we heard that the supply, we're going to have challenge of grains because the demand from outside the country in the grains market was too high. I remember growing up, we used to have a scenario where people would take cassava tubers, the dried ones, and take them to as far as Borno and Niger Republic, and on their way back they are bringing back goods. We have misplaced our demand market. We have a lot of products that are needed in certain places, but we focus on the wrong market, the European market, the American market. Let us target the West African market. Let us target North Africa, where they have money, but they do not have these things available. Let us redefine our markets. Let us open Benue farmers markets even around the country. You have one in Maitama. It's a hub. It's not influenced by Benue, but you need to go and see the number of people coming there to get fresh products. Who says we cannot synergize and produce the same things around? Kebbi and Lagos showed us how it's done. Lake Rice is owned by Kebbi and Lagos State. Lagos brought the money. Kebbi provided the land. And the demand for rice in the country, we are not meeting it. We need to start thinking, like I said earlier on, we need to act and not to react. And so, as a policy of government, we would assist all farmers that are interested, first of all, to come into associations, cooperatives. We're going to have a directorate for cooperatives because we can't deal with individuals alone and expect to get value. We would rather deal with cooperatives or people who are really, really very big. We will help them identify markets. We will give them value for what they are doing. And who says we cannot synergize with University of Agriculture, the Agri-Engineering Department, to domesticate the value addition along the chain? Why must we go to China to always import equipment that we need for farming or for processing? Why do we have a university? Check the records. This university started as a university of technology. That was what it started as. But the government of the day realized that it was a misplaced priority. They moved the technology away from here and made it a University of Agriculture, because Benue is supposed to be the food basket of the nation. Suppose she is no longer the food basket. If she is empty. And so we needed to explore that potential inherent there. How much has the university impacted on us? Yes, it's a federal university, but it's peopled by Benue citizens. There's a lot of partnership we can do with them, including our own state-owned industries, tertiary institutions, like I mentioned, Akbara and Oshi. So we will develop the value chain. No, not everybody should go into farming, but there are values you provide along the line, from the farming point to the consumption point, including even transportation. Transportation is part of the value chain in agriculture. So we need to empower people to develop along those lines too. Because you produce in a location, there's no access road, there's nobody to take it to the demand location, and what happens to you? Losses. The man will not go back into farming. So it's a long matrix that needs to be untangled, identified, the values at each point, and value added thereto. This is what we intend to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Architect Aondover Lawrence. Okay, Architect Aondover Lawrence. Thank you very much for coming to Benue People's TV. Thank you very much for the light you've thrown to all the whole youth out there, all the whole farmers. And we want to say we're hoping to see you as the next governor, not just hoping to see you. Everything you've said here, we want you to achieve it and actually actualize it. Thank you very much for coming, sir.
My pleasure. I mean, we have age on our side. So if I get in there, I know that there is a tomorrow. So I'm working my tomorrow today. I won't behave like somebody who doesn't think about it tomorrow. I assure the youths of Benue that they'll be proud that one of them has proven to the world that the youths are capable of doing it. Not just doing it very, very, very well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. And thank you, Benue people. You've heard everything that he has said. He wants us to be up and doing. If you want to vote, vote right. And if you want to work for your state, work right and sell your product right. Thank you very much, Benue people. We remain Benue People's TV. And I remain your girl, MC Whyte Shuga. Peace. Have a nice day.